Do you want to go on a big camp trip, go to Cape York, go to Arnhem Land, go to the Kimberleys, take the kids out to your local river system and camp for 2 weeks over the school holidays, I don't know, wherever you're going, but you don't know how to power it. You don't know how to take a fridge, or you want to take a freezer, or your wife wants to take a Thermomix, or you want to take your laptop so you can do a bit of work at night. Well, I have a product for you. Welcome back to another episode of Trucks, Tinnies and Trebles. Thanks for having me out here, boys. Yes! Today's Friday, so it's not a 3-minute Thursday, I'm sorry. Let's call it a fast Friday and I'll be as fast as I can. Where's the brand? You get the sun on that? ECOFLOW are portable power solutions, and to be honest, I've been using them now for 2 trips. So about 8 months, I suppose. This trip's been 8 weeks on the road and I've relied on this fella here, which is the 2000 Delta Max. The reason it's called 2000 is because it has 2016 watt hours. Now, all these specs I'm gonna give you guys today, I'm no expert with 12 volt gear, okay? I just know how to push it to its limits and then get a good idea whether it's rubbish or whether it's good, okay? And this product is good. So just check all the specs, okay? Or go into Battery World, your local Battery World store, because they sell this ECOFLOW gear, and Battery World are a company who supported me from the beginning, and I really value them because of that support. I know they have great products and that's why I partnered with them. So if you need power, if you need a power solution, go check out your local Battery World store or batteryworld.com.au and get the specs from them, because they're the experts, okay? But I'm going to tell you what I know. So 2016 watt hours, which equals about 168 amp hour or something like that. Very close. 168 amp hour of lithium. That's a lot of power. And being lithium, you can draw that down to basically 0 and then recharge it back up. Now you can do that, I think, about 800 times, from 0 back up to 80. Now this is one of the key benefits with the ECOFLOW gear, their whole range, is it'll charge from 0 to 80% within an hour. That is unheard of. Like this thing here, actually I'm not going to go into cross brands because I love that thing anyway, but there's nothing else on the market like it. That's really saved my ass this trip, because I can pull into a station or caravan park or something, plug it in for an hour and it's charged right back up. It's been sitting in my car this trip running my freezer because the trailer's gone, which we'll do another episode on soon. That's why I've got it for this trip, because I haven't been able to power my freezer. So it's sitting behind my front seat and it's running my freezer. It'll sit my freezer on -10 for about 5 days, which is bloody amazing. And then if you plug this into the ECOFLOW 220 watt folding solar panel, which I've already done an episode on here on Trucks, Tinnies and Trebles, best solar panel I have ever come across by far. It's a bifacial solar panel that will put in 220 watts. If you face it to the sun right, it'll pump 220 watts back into this unit. But let's talk about this unit, okay? Or all the units. I have 2 here. I already had this little one, which is bloody great, just probably for you guys, you know, like for weekend camp trips or a week camp trip. The only reason I've got this is because I needed a bigger unit that would last me 5 days running a freezer. But they all have this beautiful little screen here, which will tell you how much power is coming in from the solar or from your alternator in your vehicle, or if you plug it into 240 volt, how much power is coming into the unit and how much power is going out once you've got appliances plugged into it, which is really handy. You can Bluetooth that to your phone as well, and you can have your phone on the dash and it will tell you exactly what's on the screen there, so you know where your battery's at all times. USB points, your power USB points on and off, and then your power for the whole unit. Now on the back is where all the power is. So this unit has an inverter inside it. So what's inside it? You have 2016 watt hours of lithium power, all in here. You have an inverter in here to run 4 240 volt power points. You also have the charging unit to allow solar or your alternator or your 240 volt power coming in. You also have a button to turn the inverter on and off. Now I'll talk about that in a sec. This is where you charge it. Plug that into a cigarette point in your vehicle, so while you're driving it's going to pump in power, or your solar has the same connection. So when you pull up camp, you can drag this out in the sun or just get a nice long lead and you can charge that. 220 watts of power going in if you get the right panel. And then this sucker here is the the 240 volt charger. So you can pull up at, you know, caravan park or whatever, like I said, or charge it off whatever you got in your vehicle. For me, I've got the EnerDrive Adventurer, so I could charge this off that, which is pretty cool. The charging unit, like I said, 0 to 80 within an hour. That's the benefit of this whole thing. You've also got a cigarette point here, and you also have these 2 points, so they're 3 amp max. They're really handy, and you can turn that on and off as well. So everything turns on and off. Now the trick was something that I failed at when I had this little one, was I plugged in something into the inverter. I plugged my freezer into the inverter on another trip because that EnerDrive unit went flat, and I plugged it into the 240 volt, and it was just drawing so much power, and I didn't realize, rather than plugging that same fridge via a 12 volt point, like a cigarette socket, into this cigarette socket, it will use much less power. So if you have the right cord for whatever you're using to go via 12 volt rather than 240 volt, make sure you do that, because the inverter does suck a lot. Now this unit here has got these 2 plugs on the side here where you can plug in a second battery. So you can double the capacity of your unit just like that. So you can buy one and then test it out, you know, give it a few weeks, or if you're going to be at home and you're trying to run a shed or something like that, and you're like, another battery would be handy, a little bit more power. You don't have to go and sell this and buy a bigger one, you can just buy another battery. Vents on the side here. Now these things aren't waterproof. You want to keep them out of the weather, but that's the same with every power unit. Now the benefit of this, and I'm not knocking EnerDrive, as you all know, I love this unit, absolutely love it, but I can't take it out. It's fixed in here permanently, and everything that is in here is also in that little EcoFlow. Fraction of the size, the EcoFlow, fraction of the cost, and probably a fraction of the weight. That thing weighs 22 kilos. I don't know what this weighs, but when I get home, I can take that out, I can lend it to a friend, I can, you know, if you're in a national park and you have to camp away from your vehicle, you can drag it down there and, you know, run induction cooker or whatever down at your tent. Just the portability of it is amazing. Really good gear. And they've got a huge range of sizes. All the different sizes pretty much have the same benefits. It's just the obviously the sizes that change, the amp hour of the battery, things like that. But this little sucker here still has, this is the ECOFLOW Delta, the small one. It still has 4 240 volt points, still has the cigarette socket, same charging system here on the back, same USB points on the front, so you got USB-Cs and fast charge, your standard USBs. You still power that on and off with that button there. So all their gear, such a great range of gear. Now I'm not sure of the specs on this little one, but the big one, this one here, the inverter is a 2,400 watt inverter, which is already big, okay? The EnerDrive Adventurer over there in my vehicle has a 2,000 watt inverter, and it runs everything that I use on the road. That's basically all you need. This thing's 2,400, which is even bigger and better. But this one will surge to 4,600, I'm pretty sure. You have to check those specs, but it will surge to 4,600. So you're never going to get yourself into trouble, right? You'd probably be able to run a Thermomix and whatever your missus pulls out of the pantry when she wants to go camping, this thing will run it, all right? And they've got a huge range. So if you just want a small one, grab a small one. If you want to go the big sucker, like I have at home, I'm trying to run my whole shed off one. We're doing a bit of specs at the moment, so once I've got all that worked out, I'll let you know exactly what I'm using to run the whole shed. It'll run a welder. Just amazing stuff. So thank you to Battery World for always putting products like this in front of me to test out and then show you guys. There is a lot of stuff that I bring on my trips that I just don't like. That's the beauty of Trucks, Tinnies and Trebles. I get to show you guys the products that I do bring out here and that I do like. I dropped this fella out of the ute yesterday or the day before, opened up the canopy door, the whole thing just fell on the ground. And it's fine. I've used it since, I've gone over the whole thing, it's fine. You know, it's been sitting in the car, I've done 7,000 kilometers this trip, a lot of bad corrugations, I've broken stuff on my trailer, and these are fine. So they're tried, they're tested. The only thing that I don't like about them is they're not waterproof, but hey, none of this stuff is waterproof. None of this 12 volt gear is truly waterproof because it needs to suck in a lot of air. There's a lot going on in there and it needs ventilation. So yeah, but great gear. Thank you to Battery World and thank you to EcoFlow. Great products, guys. And that is a wrap for another episode of Trucks, Tinnies and Trebles. Thank you to you guys for watching and making this show possible. And I test them so you guys get the best of them.